Salvete discepoli. So if you are watching these videos in chronological order, then the last one that you watched was on words with special meanings in the plural. And what that means is, well, there's two categories of words with special meanings in the plural. The first category of words only has a plural. And because they only have a plural, the dictionary form, instead of being the nominative singular and the genitive singular, it's actually the nominative plural and the genitive plural. So castra castrorum is the dictionary form for this word, and it means camp. It means a singular thing in English, one camp, but it's used in the plural. And so, for example, if you said in the camp, you would say in castris, because in takes the ablative. Or if you make an attack upon the camp, then you made an attack in castra upon the camp, because sometimes in takes the accusative, as we saw recently. Another word that works like that is impedimenta, impedimentorum, which means the baggage or the baggage train. And another category of words that work or that have special meanings in the plural are words that have a certain meaning on the singular side and a different meaning on the plural side. And so your book gives you two examples of those. The first one, gratia gratiae. Of course, it's all conjugated like any, or all declined rather, like any first declension word. Although the singular side means favor, influence, or grace. But on the plural side, the meaning is thanks. And there's a verb that was given to you in your vocab as well, agunt, or adjunt, depending on which pronunciation style you're using. Notice that that's an NT ending, so that means they. It doesn't mean give, because there's a separate word for give, but it means they give when you use it with thanks. So when you use it with the word gratias. Now, all of these mean thanks, but typically we're going to see this one because if you give thanks, you're verbing thanks, and you need to use the accusative. So that's why the accusative is the one we're typically going to see from this plural side. Another word that works like that is copia copiae, which on the singular side means supply or abundance. On the plural side, it means troops or forces. And I don't think I said this in the notes video on this, but our word copious means a lot of something. If you have copious amounts of something, you have a lot of it. That is a derivative which comes from the word copia copiae, and so that is a derivative you may use. I'm not sure if your book has it or not listed in there. If it doesn't, I just wanted to point that one out because that's a real good one. All right, what is the purpose of this video, though? The purpose of this video is to get you started on exercise 75, of which we're going to do two sentences. Christians give thanks to God on account of the abundance of the grace of Christ. And the second one, on account of fear of Caesar, the tribes did not make an attack upon the camp. So this is, we're going to start with the first one, and we're going to be referring to our book kind of a lot in this video as we do these two sentences, because it's very important to make sure that you're using the right side of some of these words, and there are a lot of words with special meanings in the plural. Christians give thanks. I'm going to underline them in red. Christians give. I just grabbed this pen for this video too. Okay, I might just use black to keep her moving. So we're going to underline thanks to God. God's not one of those words. On account of the abundance. Oh, abundance was one of those words. Copia, copiae. Of the grace. Oh, grace was one of those words. Oh, look at that. Thanks and grace. Same word, right? It's the same from the same chart, but one's from the plural side and one's from the singular side, and then Christ wasn't. So this sentence has three words from that new vocab. Let's check out the second one. On account of fear of Caesar. So fear was not one of these words. Caesar, we've seen before. The tribes the tribes we've seen, did not make an attack on the camp. Oh, so this one just has the camp. And we have a bunch of fourth declension words too. So we're going to be referring to our book. So let's start with subject and verb. So Christians give thanks. So give is obviously our verb, and who's giving? The Christians are giving. So easy start for us. Christians, Christianus, Christiani, and so the nominative plural would be Christiani. Okay, I'm just going to kind of separate the Latin here. Okay, so they give thanks to God. So we're going to kick our verb to the end, the give, and that's going to be that agunt that we saw, or adjunt. So I'm just going to write that up here, adjunt. And they give thanks. So which one was thanks again? Thanks. Gratiae, gratiarum. Okay, so we want thanks from the plural side. Right, thanks from the plural side. So that means, and if they're giving thanks, then the thanks has to be in the accusative. So gratias. Okay, and that's the one, as I said, that we're going to be using most from this plural side. We use a bunch of different ones of these, but I don't think we're going to see gratiarum or gratiis that much. You'll see gratiae, but it'll probably be one of these, gratiae. Probably won't be that nominative one. Because when would you ever say a sentence that says thanks, and thanks is the subject of the sentence? Thanks is the thing that's doing something. You probably wouldn't, right? Anytime you say thanks, you're going to talk about somebody giving thanks. And so that's why we're going to see this one. So Christiani gratias. Okay, I could put my adjunt, but I'll put to God first. To God. So God is Deus Dei, but what's the dative? Tus eo Deo. So gratias Deo. So Christians, thanks to God, and then I'll put my adjunt here. Adjunt. I could kick adjunt all the way to the end of the entire sentence, but look what we have coming up. On account of the abundance of the grace of Christ. That's one big, long prepositional phrase. And sometimes, if that agunt and the gratias, right, this is the verb and this is the thing being verbed, if they get too far apart from one another, we can kind of lose the sense of the sentence. And so sometimes we don't kick it all the way to the end. I think it sounds best to do it here. If you kicked it all the way to the end, you wouldn't be incorrect. So Christiani gratias Deo agunt, on account of, propter. Now propter takes the accusative, on account of the abundance. All right, what was our word for abundance again? It was copia, copiae. So on account of the abundance, propter takes the accusative, so we're going to use copiam. So propter copiam, on account of the abundance of the grace of Christ. Of the grace. All right, which one is grace? Okay, we're using the singular side now, because we're not saying thanks, we're saying grace, on account of the grace. Of the grace would be gratiae. Copiam gratiae. And then of Christ. Stem is Christ, and Christus Christi, so Christi. Period. So there's our final answer for the first one. Christiani gratias Deo agunt, propter copiam gratiae Christi. The next sentence, on account of fear of Caesar, the tribes did not make an attack on the camp. All right, so where's our subject and verb? So making an attack. Make is our verb. And who did not make? Our did not is going to kind of go with our verb, right? Our did not is going to be a noun, and the tribes are our subject. So if we start with an on account of, we're going to start with our propter. So propter, So our subject doesn't have to be the first word in the sentence. So on account of the fear. So what was our word for fear? The word for fear came from the fourth declension, metus, metus. So I'm going to write met. Propter takes the accusative, so it wouldn't be metus or metus, it would be metum. Propter metum, on account of the fear of Caesar. Caesar was Caesar, Caesaris. So Caesar is our stem, and Caesaris is the one we want, actually, because that's of Caesar. Propter metum Caesaris, on account of fear of Caesar, the tribes did not make an attack upon the camp. And so we want to go back, and if we don't know how to say tribe, we have to look for that in our previous vocab. Tribe was gens, gentis. So our stem would be gent. Oh, and is it the tribe or is it the tribes? The tribes. Okay, so I am going to put gent. Gent. And then what is our nominative, since this is our subject, our nominative plural? Various is, ema, ace, so gentes. So gentes are the tribes. The tribes did not make, we're going to save that for the end, an attack. And what was our word for attack? Our word for attack was impetus, impetus. Impetus, impetus. And if they didn't make an attack, we want attack to be in the accusative. So impetum, impetum. So an attack we have taken care of on the camp, and then we'll put did not make at the very end. So on the camp. Okay, so this is one of those times where we're going to use in with the accusative. So on the camp. But we want to make sure that we're saying the right word for camp. So clearly we don't have the singular ones to even choose from. This is impedimenta would be the accusative. And so if something were happening in the camp, within the camp, we would say, oh, sorry, I circled impedimenta, I meant castra. If something were happening in the camp, we would say in castris. But if something were happening upon the camp, like an attack was being made upon the camp, we would use the in with the accusative, so in castra. So in castra is on the camp or upon the camp. And then we did not, and then we need to put did not make. And so look for that in your vocab if you need to. Did not make. So I remember that verb came right as we were talking about in with the accusative, and I believe that was part of the fourth declension. So just trying to model you looking for the word. I can't find it, but it's fecerunt. So cannot find it in the book, but I just don't want to lengthen the video. So we're going to put non fecerunt. Non fecerunt. That would have shown up, I think, with the fourth declension, so I'm not sure why I wasn't seeing it there. Did not make. So there are our first two. Christiani gratias Deo agiunt propter copiam gratiae Christi, propter metum Caesaris gentes impetum in castra non fecerunt. Valete.